All right, welcome back. DPL week two, week one finished the other day. I will not do a recap because I am lazy, and it's more important to do the predictions because that's what everyone cares about. Um, Last week, to be honest, predictions probably weren't all that. It was basically a 50% success rate. Uh, there were a few substitutes, things I couldn't have really predicted, so not going to be like too hard on myself, but like, damn, I really was just flipping a coin basically. Um, with that being said, the first matchup, these two teams. Uh, I'm not exactly sure on the team records right now. I should go check that. Hold on. Okay, so if teams are 1-0, and Droughts are 0-1. Uh, First matchup here, JRL versus Shima. I think this is very interesting because these are two good players, both lost last week. I think both are going to like try to make a comeback here. I think like both are good players, but I think it's JRL. It's kind of hard to predict against JRL, especially like getting a little bit more into the season. I think he'll put up some good numbers. Yeah, go Gerald here. Second slot, I'm gonna go Bagel, just because yeah, it's Bagel. Okay, enough said. Uh, Yurichi versus Exotic 64. I think Exotic 64 surprised me last week and won. So yeah, good on them. I still have very little familiarity with them, but clearly they know how to play the game. Versus Yurichi, who also knows how to play the game. Uh, I think I'm gonna go Exotic 64 just because I don't know. I'm feeling it. Uh, I'm not sold on Yuichi and SV, even though it's maybe a very, very fraudulent opinion. But yeah. Okay, DUU. His first big feature. This is interesting. This is two people who both qualified for DUU circuit, I think, if I recall correctly. I don't know. Um, I think I think I'll go Hiss here, just because I've seen a little more of their play recently. I also like I don't know, it's just impressed me a little bit more in DUU. I think this could go either way. It's a good match. I think this is a match to pay attention to. Big Pichu pulled out a good win against Keanu last week. Yes. Got an activity win, so did not actually get to see the play. But I still think, obviously, they're quite competent at DU. Yeah, I just wanted to pay attention to. Okay, SS. Lax versus Luisin. Luisin just beat the GOAT last week, manager. Something, to be honest, I wasn't sure. I was not convinced that was likely. But yeah, apparently Luis is the GOAT. Obviously, this is no disrespect to Luis. Luis is a very good player. I just wasn't really like familiar with how much SS he played. But I'm definitely going Luis in here just because Lax is not really a DOU player, you know. Although he did get like totally robbed last week, so unfortunate. Um, but yeah, I'm going Luis just because I've been impressed with his play recently, and the game against Meminger was very good. All right, SM. Grandma's Cooking versus Charlotte. This is another good match. Uh, Charlotte beat Zoe last week. That was a good set. Nice set. A good game. Uh, Whereas Grandma's Cooking played Umbry. Umbry, another top SM player. I'm not really sure which way to go here. I think this is like a matchup where I think both players are like very competent at the tier, um, from what I know, anyways. I'm going to go ahead and say Charlotte just because won last week, has a little bit of momentum. Whereas Grandma's Cooking hasn't really had a chance to build that momentum, but like at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter. I just don't really know which way to go on this one, so I'm going to go with the hot hand. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Um, okay, XY. Maverick, Maverick, whichever one. I've never actually been told how to pronounce that, versus Talking Tree. This is another very good matchup. Uh, Two players have been around for a while, both really know XY. Uh, I think I'll go with Memoric, just because that seems like the safest thing to do in any old gen. But don't get me wrong, this is another highlight matchup for me. I think yeah, I definitely want to pay attention to this game. Yeah, this is just a very good matchup. I could see it going either way, but it's Memoric in an old gen in DPL. Yeah, there you go. BW Checkmater versus Fran. Now this one's very interesting. Both 1-0 records in BW. Uh, Checkmater actually had a very interesting win against Dad one last week. Whereas Fran, I believe, beat Yuki in a pretty close game. Yeah. Uh, I'm gonna go with Checkmater. I think this might be heresy. I mean, Fran is again very competent player, but based on what I've seen recently, uh, I think Checkmater's win against Dad one, who I would consider to be toward the top of the pool, has made me a little bit. I think I'd have a hard time predicting against him until I see evidence to otherwise. Yeah, I'll go Checkmater here. Uh, okay, Cold Crew versus Spindus. Oh wait, hold on. I said JRL, Bagel, Exotic 64, Hiss, Louisin, Charlotte. I predicted this one 4-4. Let's go. Balanced. Okay. Cold Crew versus Spindus. Oh, Raph versus Zern. That's a very good matchup. Both SCL players. Yeah, that's a very good FG game. I'm gonna go with Zern just because, bro, who the fuck could beat Zern? I don't even know. Okay. Um, SVDOU, Loudwater versus Zeal. So they're two very underrated players, in my opinion. Uh, Zeal had a good win last week against JRL. And to be honest, I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to go with Zeal. Just because that was beating JRL at anything is pretty impressive. So go with Zeal. All right, XQ versus Jello. Two uh, newer-ish users here. Very, towards the top of SV play. I'm gonna go with XQ just because, the last several team tours, that I've seen, XQ has just done phenomenally. He's really improved his performances across these various side PLs, and I don't expect that to go away here. Jello is obviously very competent, could easily take this W. One of the you know best minds for SV at the moment. Uh, but I'm just gonna go XQ because in terms of recent team tour performances, he has more of those than Jello does. Jello hasn't had the opportunity to really play as many. Yeah, that's another one of my highlight matchups here. This one for sure, and possibly this one as well. But I think these two in particular. All right, DUU Rat Packer versus Kaori. Kaori got an act call loss last week because the series was already over, and Rat Packer also lost last week by actually losing the game. But I don't know. I think Rat Packer is very good. Obviously, I think Rat Packer probably has more experience. So I'm gonna bold him here. Yeah. All right. SSTOU, Rob Jr. versus Star. Interesting to put Rob Jr. here. I don't really know what the calculus was here. I've never seen him play. Whereas Star, granted, did win by basically total robbery last week, if I remember the game correctly. But I'm gonna go with Star just because DPL records and SS from them have been incredibly solid. So yeah. Um, SM Yoda versus Umbri. I think Umbri is a little bit more familiar with SM than Yoda, or a little bit more solid in this tier. I'm gonna go with Umbri. Uh, yeah, they just impress me more in this tier than Yoda. Yoda could obviously, of course, as is the case with top players, can always pull something out here, but my gut tells me it's Umbry. Yeah. Okay, XY. Single Thunder versus Ambrose. Now, this is pretty interesting. This is like pretty evenly matched. I consider both to be quite competent in XY. I think I'll go with Single Thunder just because uh, I think it might have like a more like a deeper knowledge of XY than Amaranth. Although I could definitely be wrong about this. Yeah, I'll go with Single Thunder here. All right. BW, Dwobble Fett versus Dad One. It's Dad One, but it's Dwobble Fett, and you don't predict against Dwobble Fett in BW. I'm sorry, it's just the rules. I don't make the rules. Yeah. Okay. So I predicted Zern, Zeal, XQ, Rat Packer, Star, Upri. Another 4-4. Let's go. Okay. Ducks versus Hydreigens. Okay, here we go. Waffle versus Yo Buddy. Yo Buddy put up a good game last week, I believe. I think he beat Shima. Yeah. And honestly, that impressed me a fair bit. I'll go with Yo Buddy. I think if he's feeling the tier, I think he'll put up a very good showing here. Whereas Waffle has a tendency to bring stranger teams, which is like not a bad thing, and I cannot possibly say this as the person who brings like possibly the most UR mods of like all time. So this might be slender, but you never know. Um, that could be kind of exploited in the builder sometimes. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get the edge for Nobody here. All right, Poppy Loco versus Paraplegic. I'm not actually sure if this game is happening or if there's going to be a double sub. I saw something about that. I don't know. Leaking, you know. Okay, I think I think I'll go Paraplegic. It's Paraplegic at SV. I mean, Bro is like very very good whenever he shows up to play. So yeah. Okay, Enzo Nana versus Far From Money. I'm gonna go with Far From Money. Just I think more familiarity with the tier. Enzo Nana's like impressed me recently with SV play, but I think Far From Money, qualified for invites, had strong circuit performances across SV last year. Uh, I think yeah, I'll pull Far From Money here just based on like I think I've like seen them play SV more, you know. All right, Relicanth Primal versus Hugo. Oh, it's just a Lance rematch. Oh, this should be interesting. Um, my heart tells me Hugo, but my brain tells me Relicanth Primal. I'm sorry, Hugo, but I know Hugo is like very good at this tier, to be honest, but I'm not sure when the last time he paid any attention to DUU was. So I remember like he was like in circuit playoff, and like I was like crafting teams for him, and I'd like never played the format in like 6 months. So yeah, I think if Hugo puts an effort, like Hugo's definitely a clicker, right? He'll like load up some HO thing, and it'll just like it'll play itself. So never gonna be one to count him out. But Relicanth Primal is like very familiar with you. You had a strong win against Nito last week. And I think like in this matchup, it would just be hard to predict against him here. But again, Hugo could pull this out. I've seen him win some crazy games with just some random teams. So yeah. All right. SS Ladera versus Manager. Another Lance matchup. Damn, this is crazy. Um, this is like the peak of the SS pool in terms of like my PRs or whatever. So uh, yeah, this is a very good matchup. I think I'll go with Madara just because Madara is like I've seen he won last week, had a good win against Gen One. Uh, Ebinger lost in a pretty close game, or at least I think it was a close game to Luis, and uh, I think this is like very evenly matched. Like this is another like highlight game for me. but I think Madara can be very dangerous in SS, so I want to go with him. But like again, this is another one where it's like I'm really like kind of flipping the coin, you know? Okay, Voltix versus Zoe. I'm gonna go with Zoe. Voltix is playing XY last week. Now he's playing SM. I don't really know what's going on. Uh, Voltix obviously a very competent player, but even though Zoe lost last week, I think she's still like very competent at this tier. Should put up a strong showing. Yeah. All right, SMB versus Yellow Paint. Paint might be the goat after that last second DLT qualifier, but again, this is another case of it's less about the player I'm predicting against and more about the player I'm predicting for. It's SMB. I've never actually seen him play XY, but I assume he's like probably like towards the top of that tier in terms of like play. Uh, I'm going with SMB just because it's SMB. All right, Act versus Yuki. I think Act put up a very good performance against Smudge last week. Who is like someone who's probably plays more BW than Act actually does. Uh, but I think yeah, Act is like very competent this year. How do you go Act here? Uh, yeah. All right, ignore the cut. I just had to go drink some water. All right, so just finishing this one off, I predicted Yobuddy, Paraplegic, Far From Money, Relicamp, Madara, Zoe, SMP, and Hack. So one, two. Oh, another 4-4. Damn, that's crazy, bro. Uh, yeah.